Happy Nano, my friends. I'm so excited to do this little vlog. We'll see how it goes. It's something super new for me, but I've kind of wanted to try to do one, and I thought Nano was the perfect time to do it. So for those of you unfamiliar, I am author Laura Winter, and I write epic fantasy, and what I'm doing right now is trying to finish my second book in the Smoke and Shadows series. I've codenamed this Firefall. That's not the title. I'm not quite ready to release the title of that, but so I'm starting Nano at 96,518 words for this project, and my goal is, the final goal is about 210,000 words for this epic fantasy. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how much I end up writing, because it's already a lot longer than I expected it to be. So what I'm doing this November is, I'm not quite sure with this little one if I'm actually going to hit 50,000 words, but my goal is to write at least every day, and no matter what amount that is, as long as I'm writing and keeping that habit up. And so I'm quite excited for this November. It's a lot different than the Nanos that I've done in the past, which I've won the last, I want to say, ever since I've started it. So I want to say the last 4 years. I believe I've only competed 4 times. I've won it every single time. Some of them really came down to the wire. Sometimes I finished them a lot faster than I hit the 50,000 mark, a lot faster than I expected. I think my record is 9 days completing it, but that is obviously not going to happen. 50,000 words on this story specifically is not easy. The nice thing about this story specifically is that I write it closer to done, so there's not a whole lot of editing that needs to be done after the fact, especially when it comes to plot. Everything is kind of figured out in that sense. It's more of just like a little bit of line editing and things like that, but for the most part it's fairly clean, which is really helpful. It means, you know, once I hit that 210 or whatever the final word count is, there's not a whole lot of work afterwards that I really need to like panic about. So I'm quite excited about this. It does take me a little bit longer. So because I write closer to done, it does take me a little bit longer to kind of hit those word goals, but it is a more polished draft, and that's kind of how I like to work. That's what works for me. Obviously that doesn't work for everybody, but that's kind of where I'm at. And so I'm really excited. We're 96,000 words in. My goal by the end of November is obviously 146. We will see if I can actually hit that. Yeah, it's only 8:15 in the morning, which is like probably the earliest that I've gotten to sit down at my computer since having her. And so hopefully that means some words will come. She's about down, ready to take a nap again. So hopefully that means I can get some good words done. First break of the day, and I'm at 737 words. It took me about just over an hour. I did kind of do some reread. I did kind of look for, I was trying to quote something that had happened earlier in the book, and so I did have to go back and make sure that I had that wording correct. But for the most part, everything looked pretty good. It's flowing how I want it to, and I'm really excited because the next bit, I know exactly what happens. I'm getting to my first steamy scene, so everybody can look forward to that. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's flowing really well. It looks really good. It's fairly clean, and I'm kind of excited for the next go. I miraculously did it. I probably around 2 o'clock, I finished at 1690. So I did beat the day one goal of 1667 just by a few words. I will probably end up getting one more writing session in some point today, but I feel really good about what I got done today, what I accomplished. I just feel really good about what I was working on, and I stopped at a point where I know exactly what's happening next. And so as soon as I sit down for my next scene, whether I get another writing session, I won't actually finish this scene, but whether I get another writing session or not, I know when I sit down to write again, it's just gonna flow. I know exactly what's happening. I know exactly where things are going and what I'm gonna finish the scene with. So I'll definitely have at least another 2,000 words of what to write pretty much nailed down. And so that's really exciting to kind of be able to sit down when I do get to write again and know exactly what I'm working on. But day one is done, at least goal-wise. I hit the target goal, and I'm now at 98,000 words on this project, 98,208. And so I'm really excited. That's good. I know for sure I'm gonna break 100,000 this week. And so I'm very, very excited. I will see you guys tomorrow. So it's day two. I have a bit of work to do. I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep, if that. So today is definitely going to be interesting. I've already gone on a walk with the dog and the baby, and I'm really struggling with any sort of focus or just energy at all. So we're gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna start with some work, and maybe hopefully that will kind of help wake me up a little bit before I get writing. Start of day four, I'm 315 words ahead of par from yesterday. So yesterday should have been about 5,000 words. I'm at 5,315 words, which I'm used to being kind of more ahead than that. But the fact that I've hit 1667 every day, that's been quite good for me. I think it's a good challenge to kind of have that set word goal. And not worrying about, you know, if I'm going way too far, or, you know, and burning myself out, or if I'm, you know, not quite writing enough. And the nice thing is I know exactly what I'm writing in this project. So when I sit down to the computer, it's not that hard to start. Now, I did finish a chapter yesterday, which put me just under 1667. And I was really hesitant because I almost didn't keep going, thinking, you know, I was exhausted. I've been up all night. And I was like, you know, my brain is kind of fried. I'm not sure I can keep going. But I saw that 1667, it was right within reach. And I just ended a chapter. Now for me, starting the next chapter, I always know what's happening, but I don't necessarily like starting it. And I always trip myself up about, you know, oh, how do I start this chapter? How do I want to do this? And so being able to, you know, kind of see that 1667 and be like, I need a few more words. I can get there. I can start this next chapter. That's the hardest part. So now I know when I sit down today, when I pull up my document, I've already started the chapter. I've gotten the hardest part out of the way, and so that I can just keep going. So I did end up breaking 100,000 in this project, which puts me at about halfway. I'm a chronic underwriter when it comes to my first draft. So honestly, I've written some chapters that ended up longer or ended up splitting into 2 chapters based on the things that I kind of discovered while I was writing. So we will see. That I still think with the scenes that I have left to go in this book, it's definitely put me at about halfway, but my goal is still 145-ish thousand which would get me 50,000 for NaNoWriMo. And the final project will probably be around 200,000. So let's get on to writing this morning. End of week 1, I finished 3 chapters. I'm quite impressed with that. 9450 is my final word count. On day 5, it's supposed to be 8333. So I'm ahead of schedule by about 1,000 words, just over 1,000 words. And I'm feeling really good. Not only finishing 3 chapters, but just kind of the flow of things and how my schedule has kind of been able to adapt, not only with her, but being able to, you know, hit that target every single day, which I wasn't quite expecting that, especially on the weekends. But I'm quite impressed with how things have been going. And so I'm really hoping that week 2 goes just as well. So we will see, and I'll be back with you next week.